And the presentation will proceed in three parts: background, the framework that forms the basis of the education program, and the lecture initiatives and their outcomes. First, let me briefly introduce myself. I'm currently involved in a platform business utilizing medical data in Japan at Entity Precision Medicine. Though this is unrelated to today's presentation. I joined NTT, a Japanese telecommunication company, as an engineer, and I was seconded to TTC, a Japanese STO, for 3 years, starting in 2021. And at TTC, I was responsible for planning events, including human resource development and standardization, public relations, and external liaison. And I also gained experience co-hosting capacity building workshop with TTA and TTC. So I'd like to take this opportunity to thank everyone who collaborated to make the workshop successful. And after leaving TTC, unfortunately, my work no longer directly involved standardization. However, starting this year, I began teaching a course on standardization at Waseda University in Japan, and reconnecting me with the field. In other words, the fact that I'm here today is primarily thanks to TTA and then to TTC and Waseda University. So today I'd like to share my efforts on the standardization education at Waseda University. And first, as background, I'd like to briefly begin by an overview of the position of standardization education at university in Japan. This graph shows the age composition of the standardization practitioners in Japan. Over half of ITT median participants are aged 50 or older. Furthermore, 78% of those in leadership positions are aged 50 or older. And standardization in Japan is facing an aging workforce. And within Japanese companies, the issues of fixed and aging standardization personnel and the lack of training for younger generations have been identified. However, the reality is that effective countermeasures have not been implemented. In this situation, expectations are placed on standardization education at university. Here, while standardization education in Japanese companies focuses on OJT, on-the-job training, standardization education at universities tend to rely on one-way lecture formats for acquiring foundational knowledge and understanding use cases. So what I want to emphasize here is that companies seeking people who can undertake standardization activities that lead to business growth. The challenge in university education is to attract and help students who are unfamiliar with both business and standardization to become interested in and understand these fields. So to address this, I took an approach that went beyond the general knowledge common to all standardization activities. I broke down the roles within standardization activities, enabling students to more concretely imagine how they could contribute to standardization and how they would like to contribute. While abstract concepts offer high generality, and they may be difficult for unfamiliar students to grasp, I focused on helping students understand the material as something personally relevant to them, structuring the class as a workshop style using scenarios. And I'll give a brief overview of Waseda University, where the workshop was held. Waseda University is a private university characterized by its international educational environment and diverse faculties. And Waseda University alumni are successful in political and business fields, both in Japan and abroad. And the course I taught was titled Information and Communications and International Standardization. Out of the 14 sessions held from April to July this year, and I was assigned to teach 3 sessions. 5 lecturers in total taught the course, and about 100 students enrolled. And each lecture is 100 minutes long. The students include both Japanese and international students, and the lectures are given in both Japanese and English. And this table lists the titles of all 14 sessions and the instructor's affiliation, as they were universities and a company. It covers both fields for ISO and ITU. I taught the later part of the lecture, highlighted in pink, focused on human resources. So next, I would like to share the framework referenced in lecture. As I mentioned earlier, I chose to use the scenario-based workshop method to help students unfamiliar with both standardization and business understand the standardization activities for business purposes. The scenarios were designed to set a specific situation and be as concrete as possible. And on the other hand, the CBFS capacity building framework for standardization I will explain next is a more general, organized knowledge system that works as a guide for those scenarios. And CBFS was developed in 2024 as an outcome of the efforts of the Capacity Building Advisory Group at TTC. It was designed to build a shared understanding among diverse stakeholders regarding standardization activities and the personnel involved in them. And it is intended for us in the development and the evaluation of standardization personnel. Currently, the Japanese Ministry, MIC, Ministry of Internal Affairs and Communications, is leading the efforts to improve and expand this framework. CBFS applies a building block structure. CBFS defines the roles of standardization personnel, identifies the tasks these roles are responsible for, clarifies the skills and the knowledge required to perform these tasks, and structures these relationships. This is shown on the left side of this figure. The structured information can be utilized to develop job descriptions and evaluations for standardization personnel. And furthermore, this information can be used for training standardization personnel. By reorganizing the information on the skills and the knowledge required for standardization personnel into an easy-to-learn format, as shown on the right side of this figure, efficient learning programs and materials can be developed. For learners, being able to visualize how the skills and the knowledge they are learning will be useful in specific tasks and what kind of professional they can become in the future helps to clarify learning objectives and motivate learning. And part of CBFS consists of tables defining roles, tasks, knowledges, and skills, as shown in this slide. And let me explain a bit more about how CBFS generalized diverse standardization activities. Standardization practitioners work in a wide variety of companies with different business scales and organizational structures, and in various positions. To generalize the diverse environment of standardization practitioners, the CBFS was developed focusing on the fundamental similarity across companies. in a structure where standardization strategy exists as part of a broken down strategy to realize the vision and strategy at the top of the company, which then becomes tactics and is executed. And the pyramid shown earlier is the strategy pyramid, a figure describing activities for the goals of the business. And this pyramid shows the personnel structure involved in standardization activities. Generally, the number of people increases towards the bottom of the pyramid. The horizontal axis represents the level of involvement in standardization. And those positioned on the left most heavily involved in standardization, while involvement decreased toward the right. And the CBFS classifies personnel involved in standardization into 4 work roles. The first role is the standardization professional who leads standardization and is highly involved. The second is a standardization contributor who follows the lead of standardization professionals in standardization activities. The third is a business architect who acts as a bridge between internal and external stakeholders or between related internal organizations to promote their involvement in standardization activities. The fourth category is others. What this name may not be ideal, it refers to individuals who are not directly involved in standardization, but who have basic standardization knowledge and support standardization activities. And this table summarizes these 4 work roles. And CBFS is currently being developed while reflecting input from experts both within and outside Japan. And in the Waseda University lecture, the latest information was introduced to help students imagine the roles of standardization practitioners. And here I will share how we actually taught at Waseda University and what results we achieved. To reiterate, a key focus of this workshop was to help students recognize the significance of standardization activity as an extension of their own interests and experiences. Oh, sorry. In Japan, many people recognize standardization activities as something special people do for a special purpose. Indeed, such experts are likely among us here today. However, I believe it's crucial for students to recognize that standardization is actually a familiar activity requiring the direct and the indirect involvement of many people, and that it benefits both society and the individuals engaged within. To that end, we have helped students understand that there are various ways to engage with the standardization activities, enabling them to discover how they themselves wish to be involved. The 3-day lectures proceed step by step. On the first day, students learned about the roles of standardization practitioners and the skills required of individuals. On the second day, students worked in teams to develop a standardization strategy based on their individual roles. On the third day, students learned about negotiation and collaboration with teams through a mock standardization meeting. In addition to guided lectures, we used methods such as pre-assignments, role-playing, group work, and mock meetings to facilitate understanding. And this is an example of a pre-assignment question. Students answered a total of 39 questions to determine which roles in standardization activities they might be potentially suited for. This question is example. It's very interesting, but I will skip this and this. Okay. And okay. And one third of the pre-assignment consists of questions related to such tasks, while the remaining 2/3 were questions about knowledge and skills. This graph shows the results of a survey we asked people actually involved in standardization activities to complete. They answered what skill and knowledge are required for standardization personnel. But it's overwhelming to think that becoming a standardization expert requires so many skills and knowledges. But however, it can also be said that these skills and knowledge that can be acquired through standardization activities. So in the pre-assignment for students, we asked not only about the skills and the knowledge they currently have, but also about the skills and the knowledge they wish to acquire in the future. And after students answered these questions, they received their results of their potential role assessments. Then I asked them to find people with different roles and form teams of 5 or more members. And this is an overview of the task those teams tackled. They developed a standardization strategy for the fictional company, Builidng. Students read documents detailing the company's business environment and member roles to develop and present their strategy. Each team delivered very interesting presentations. And next, Builidng's competitors appeared. Students discussed the topic from their representative perspectives through the mock meeting. They read detailed background information, prepared standardization documents as a team, and presented them during the mock meeting. So if anyone is interested, I can share these scenarios, but I'll skip the details now. And I will now share the outcomes of these workshops. The left side shows the knowledge and skills students felt were necessary for standardization activities, while the right side shows the knowledge and skills students felt they acquired through the workshops. And the top skills acquired include information analysis, cooperativeness, flexibility, language skills, negotiation, and leadership. These are all skills unlikely to be acquired through one-way lectures. The skills the students acquired through the workshop all include within the skills considered necessary for standardization activities at the company. And this is an example of feedback from students. In the group work, considering the standardization strategy from business perspectives as a member of a company provided a valuable learning opportunity to understand standardization from multiple angles. Through group work, I learned the importance of a process of coordinating with diverse stakeholders, respecting each other, and reconciling different opinions. And the workshop-style university lectures developed based on CVFS received very positive feedback from students. But since I have only delivered it once so far, so I'd like to implement it under different conditions and gather not only qualitative feedback from students, but also quantitative data to further improve the programs. So if anyone here is interested, please feel free to contact me. That's all. Thank you.